Welcome to Ongoing Conversations with William, Precious, and Melissa. We are like out of the gate. I know it's been a while since the three of us have been on together,
For
and
sure.
this new branding, this new way of looking at it. And so, what is ongoing conversations? For me, um, before we introduce our hosts, our other hosts, I just want to let everybody know. For me, ongoing conversations are the conversations in our lives that seem like they never end. Right? The ones that we're sick of, right? But but I believe they help us. They guide us to ourselves, to our lives, to work through if we're willing to stay in them. And
Yeah.
so that's what I want to do with the Soul Doctor and I was going to say the Legacy Lady. I don't know.
I like that. The Lady of Legacy. Make it fancy.
The lady,
Lady of Legacy.
the
Lady of
Lady Legacy,
Lady Legacy.
I
Lady
like
Legacy.
that.
Right.
So
And
that's
titles are
that's
born.
right, and titles are born, and that's the wonderful thing about us. We show up and things just this happens. So I am William Brown, and that's it. There's a lot of things that come behind that, but where I am on my journey right now is that just being William Brown is enough. Um,
I like that.
so I am William Brown. I've been married for 30 years to my wonderful wife. I have four amazing adult children, and I'm excited to be here. And so, Precious, introduce yourself to the peoples.
Yes, my name is Precious. I am a mom of five amazing young people. I'm a wife of 19 years. I am an author, a poet. I can go on and on, but who I really am is somebody who's on assignment. And so when people ask, what do? I can make you wealthy. WELLTHY, thy well. Because I take you from survivor to soulvivor in order to get in alignment for your assignment. And so what I come to do is figure out how can we dismantle words with my gift as well as with each other's gifts in order to what? Do a relay race because somebody is relying on us. So I'm just here to basically bring the best parts of myself that I could think of while I'm in this seat.
Oh, wonderful. And thank you. Lady of Legacy.
Lady Legacy.
I love
Lady
that.
I like it.
LOL.
Like I got some swag over today.
Lady of Legacy is laughing out loud, and we know Melissa keeps us laughing out loud.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. I think it works perfect.
Yes, I like that. All right, so I am Melissa Price, your Lady of Legacy and Laughter. Lots of L's up in my world. I am married for 10 years, mother of two little girls. I've been a homeschool mom up until this year, just got my kids into school for the first time. So I'm feeling a little crazy these days. Other than that, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an author. I'm a visionary media master, thanks to Big Brother William Brown over there. And thank you to Precious for that lovely title. That's going to be on my business card soon. But I am a big believer that there is a blessing in every lesson. There is a bright spot in every dark opportunity that there is. Any dark situation you might be in, there's always a solution. There's always a positive that's going to come out of it. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm so excited to be back. This is the first show that I've done since our last show. That was like
Right.
in May, I think. So
Yeah,
I don't think I've been live in. I can't even remember.
in a minute, right?
it was May. It was our last show that we did for me. So it's been
Wow.
months. I haven't seen y'all.
My birthday. I'm allowed for a few minutes on my birthday. That was it.
That's right.
Wonderful. So ongoing conversations. So the title or the topic for today is, are you crazy, dumb, or just stupid? You know?
Right.
And it was kind of funny when I was thinking about this title, and and this show. This kept on coming up for me because there's a lot of things happening in the world, right? There's a lot of for me, because I'm the head guy, right? I'm always in my head. I'm always thinking about stuff. So it's like, so I'm just trying to just kind of understand my role and how things are showing up. And it's like, for me, it's just like, I see something and I'm told that I didn't see that. Right. And I say something and people say that's, well, that's dumb. Right. Or I don't say something. Right. And it's like, or, or this, a thought comes to mind and it's, and I quickly dismiss it as being stupid. So, so I was just, for me, it's like, yes to all of those. And I think the power of really admitting that, then you can go beyond that and make some other choices, some other decisions. So when you guys saw this topic, all together, how did it show up for you? What was the energy or the visual thing that came up when it's like the question of, are you crazy, dumb, or just stupid?
I thought that everybody who sees that title is, immediately in their less vulnerable selves are going to be like, I'm none of those things. Like, I'm not crazy, I'm not dumb, or I'm not stupid. But then when you, like you said, when you dissect words that we use in ways that aren't actually a definition, like we found out dumb means to be mute, not to be stupid, but to be without a voice, right? And so everybody has been dumb. Right? At some point, we're in relationships dumb because we are mute to a lot of stuff that we do not say, only because we try to avoid confrontation. But yet when we avoid confrontation, we avoid elevation. And so I realized that we are so eager to see how we are not, instead of to find the ways that we are, so that we can find how we connect. You know what I mean? And so when I saw this topic, I said, I'm sure more people will say that's not me than they will say it is me, because they actually think about it in the depth. Like, even crazy, people would say that if you're talking to yourself, you're crazy. For me, if you don't talk to yourself, you're crazy. Who else is going to talk to you if not you, right? And so for me, I have an opposite effect of crazy. So it's like, oh, that's like necessary. It's crazy to not talk to yourself, right? And so I look at these words, and stupid, it's like we all are stupid at one point, because it's the naivety, what is it, naivete that they used to do?
Nativity, right?
Right. And so you don't actually pay attention to a lot of stuff. And then and so that at times can make you stupid, because it's just a lack of information that makes you feel like I'm this or that. And so in each area, we can see how we reside, or even maybe find a time when we resided there. Because I may not be dumb now, but I was dumb before because of the things that people took me through. I have the evidence that I have been dumb. Right. Because I didn't speak up when I should have. So we know that we are all these things. Is accepting it, being accountable, and being willing to say, how do I change that thing? If it gave me a negative idea about it, how do I make it a positive? How do I say, well, you know what? I have been dumb, but moving forward, I'll do it like this. Instead of dismissing it, figure out the ways that you are it, so that you can become better.
Right. Yeah. Melissa?
Yeah, well, when I saw the episode title, I was shocked, because I was like, really? What's going on with Big Brother William over here? Because this is not your normal thing, you know? I don't know.
To the dark side.
I know, that's what I thought. I'm like, did he take a trip to the dark side of the moon, or what's going on? I gotta check in and make sure he's okay. Are we depressed? What's going on, you know? But I was shocked that, because you came up with it, this wasn't like a collaborative thing. He brought this up to us, and I was like, oh, gotta check on him, you know? So that was the initial reaction. But then I got, like, Precious is over there going, yes. I was like, challenge accepted. Let's flip the script on this, because initially that was, after the shock, then there was that whole, it's so negative, and that made me look inward and like, well, I have called myself and been called, all of those, and it doesn't, it instantly has this negative vibe, which makes you interested enough to like go back and, well, why? And I know in some of our other shows, Precious has brought up dumb and what it really means. And that was an eye opener. How often we throw that word around thinking we know what it means, and we're using it totally out of context, So I got really excited to be able to unpack all these with you guys and try to flip the script on it. Like you said, Precious, like if it feels negative, find a way to make it positive. So that's what we're going to try to do. And let's roll.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the wonderful thing about, language and really embracing, the concept of ongoing conversations is that I am dumb and I'm not dumb. I am stupid and I'm not stupid. Right?
That's right.
I'm, I am crazy and I'm not crazy.
Depends on the situation, right?
But right. And it's
on who's, it depends on who's watching too.
Right. Yeah. And who's watching. And it's like, there's so many times where I'll speak for myself. I don't want to take on this label because it feels like I always have to have that label. I always have to be that. And I've talked before about my unhealthy relationship with consistency. It's like really, so it's like, oh, if I say that I'm dumb, I always have to, show up that way. And I realized that there were, nothing is permanent, right? Everything is moving. And the things that I'm, most of the suffering that I have is things that I'm trying to hold on to, because it's like things want to come and go in our lives, right? Our life is about stops and starts and forwards and backwards and, and just movements, right?
Cycles and seasons.
And so often we are conditioned to just hold on to shit, right? Right.
Absolutely.
And then we mad that we got shit, right?
Even when it no longer serves us. Think about the traditions, all the things we hold on to because our grandparents did it, our great grandparents did it,
right?
Our ancestor did it, but it doesn't really fit anymore. But yeah, we'll hold on to it. Why?
Right. And so, I just wanted to I wanted to be provocative and just put it straight up there, just like it is. So if people like tune in, it's like, are you crazy? Right.
I love
it. And so it was kind of interesting that I was watching this movie. I think it's called Are We There or something. I can't remember, but it might, that might be and I'll put it in the show notes or something later. But there was this character that was depressed because of how his life was and, it wasn't going. His family sent him to a psychiatrist and, the psychiatrist was like, well, what's going on? And he was like, well, I'm doing this or not doing this. And the guy's like, that's crazy. And he's like, why is that crazy? It's like, because other people don't do that.
That's right.
And for me, I'm sitting there and I was like, is that all crazy? If somebody else doesn't do, if you're doing something, somebody else doesn't think you should be doing or want to be, you're crazy. And I was like, wow. I was like, I was relating more to the quote unquote crazy person in this movie than the psychologist that is trying to fix them. And it was just like, wow. And it's like, for me, I'm sitting there, am I crazy for being on the crazy side? So I'm having this moment of questioning, am I kind of losing it right now? Because this guy makes sense to me, not doing everything what's expected, and he just being himself.
Right.
It's right now, I'm disappointed with my life. Can I just be disappointed with my life? And people not give me the third degree and kind of like lock me up for that. And so
Right.
it was just a very interesting, because I don't think a number of years ago I would have had that any of awareness of that for that character in that movie, or in
Mhm.
like people in my life,
Right.
because I quickly go into that fixing an emotion or something is coming up. People are doing something that is not what you think they should be doing, so
Mhm.
they're crazy, right?
Crazy.
Right.
And craziness needs to stop, and
Mhm.
just kind of go from there. So
Yeah.
how does crazy, so Precious, the question is, are you crazy?
Listen, every other day.
Right. Every day that ends in Y, I say.
Listen, when I see the crazy, I'm thinking about my mom used to say all the time, you everybody calls the person crazy, but what if the person who is living out loud and doing all that stuff is actually opposite, because it's not the person who is doing it, it's the person who named them, right? And
Hmm.
so who was the person that named the other person crazy? I would say it was a person that was afraid to take chances. It was a person that was afraid to wear stuff. It was a person that was dumb
Hmm.
that labeled the crazy.
Right.
Because I was quiet to or numb to the things that may bring me joy. And then when I labeled them, it made it okay for me to be in my comfort zone. If I say, well, you're crazy for living outside the box, because like you said, crazy is doing what you haven't seen. And of course, there's levels to crazy, right?
Right.
And I know
Crazy levels. That's right.
levels to crazy, right? And I guess is how far did you get away from the idea of who they said you should be?
Hmm.
How far did you get away from that thing that they said you could be, right? And so for me, crazy is all up to interpretation depending on how safe you're standing. And so the safer you feel, the safer you go, is you're further away from being crazy. Crazy is that idea that you are free, you are out there, you are figuring it out, and you are doing it loud and boldly till
Right.
it offends people till they name you. And so if they are naming you because they are offended by the way you show up, and it ain't in the level where it's named, right? Because if you're schizophrenic, they don't call it crazy. There's a name for it.
Right.
And so crazy has nothing to do with those mental diseases that we want to associate crazy with. Crazy has something to do with how free are you really? And are you being who you want to be, or are you being who they said you should be? And the reason you're doing that is so they won't call you crazy. So the question is, are you trapped inside yourself because you don't want them to say you crazy, or are you actually living out loud? And so I think
Wow.
it's easy to name those who are brave enough and willing to show up than it is to, name the ones that are suffering in silence.
Wow.
Mm.
Melissa, are you crazy?
Like I said, every day that ends in Y, you should not have to even ask me this question. You know better. I'm
Don't
definitely
forget
crazy.
sexy. That's a Y word, Melissa.
What's that?
I said, don't forget sexy. That's a Y word.
Crazy sexy. That's So yeah, I agree with you guys both that, strongly that crazy is definitely all about perception and opinion, and again, all about who's watching. I went ahead and looked up the definition. Bear with me because I didn't bring my glasses though to the table. And I was surprised. I don't know. Tell me what you think of these definitions of crazy. One, mentally deranged, especially as manifested in a wild or aggressive way. Okay. This one made me giggle so many times today. I'll tell you why in a minute. Number two, extremely annoyed or angry. Makes you crazy.
Right. Wow.
I told you every other day.
Foolish is another definition of crazy. Then, okay, we go on to another set of meanings. Extremely enthusiastic is crazy. And let's see. It says appearing absurdly out of place or in an unlikely position. For example, a monument leaned at a crazy angle. And let's see. I think that's it until I went way into it. But look at all the different definitions for crazy,
Wow.
And let's not forget cray cray, because we turn it into cool stuff. You know what I mean? Cray cray, cray cray. Or, oh, did you go to that crazy party, girl? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, or my kids are acting crazy. But so I was in the Costco today, and I told you, like, I have no choice but to go during the weekend, and it just is mind blowing every time I go. The herds of people stampeding through that place, and the lines are just insane. But I was waiting in the checkout line, had all my barcodes up so I could zip, zip, zip. Let's go, get me out. And the lady next to me, well, I did get my zip out, but like it was a longer line to get out of Costco than it was to check out of Costco or get into Costco. And so it took like damn near 10 minutes to get out the door. And there was just, there might be 2-3 different people I passed along the way. One of them was behind me. It's like, this is crazy. And I instantly went to mentally deranged and started taking the definitions off. And I just sat there. It made the line go a little quicker because I was sitting there giggling. And I'm like, I'm going to have to hear this. You know, like how many ways we use crazy, both good and bad, and just like regular speech. So circling back around to what Precious said in the beginning about flipping the script and making the negative part positive. Like, I don't know, if somebody wants to call me crazy, I can look up at the definitions and, you know, maybe they mean it to be foolish, but also crazy means extreme. And yes, I can be extreme, and extreme is not a bad thing, you know?
Right.
Own it. You gotta own you crazy.
Like, go ahead and call me crazy. You can think it means foolish, but I'm gonna take that as a compliment and own it that I'm extreme and I'm not afraid to be bold and be me. So I embrace the crazy. And I own that. Give me the hashtag crazy t-shirt. Bling it up for me. I will rock that label.
You know, I think when you were reading the definitions for me, all I saw was, you know, control.
Yeah.
It is like there is this mentality that this is how people should act. This is how you gotta be. Anything outside of that is crazy. And that and even though we don't really know what crazy is, because there's all these other things that it's up for interpretation, it's not how we want you to go. And it was just like, wow. I just this pressure of controlling our behavior, and then feeling that, you know, for myself, when I'm in my feelings or in my and when I don't understand something, it's like that's the first thing that I think. I must be going crazy. Right? You know, I mean, it's like, you know,
Out of my mind.
Right. You know, and it's just like, that's, you know, that's a good thing. Embrace it, own it, you know, and just kind of be that.
I think it's crazy, the power of words that, you know, as you're sitting here, that just struck me as you were saying, like, you know, we don't want anybody to call us that, but we conform based around these words, you know. And on a side note, who gets to decide what society norms are? Again, because what happens in Charlotte is crazy in Charlotte is not going to be the same thing in West Virginia or Texas or Detroit or anywhere else. So it's like based on the little community that you're in, you know, who gets to make these norms. But it's, to me, it's a little bit crazy, the gravity that words have, that for fear of being called crazy, dumb, or stupid, we adjust who we are and how we act and our being based on these little words. So I mean, just that's a big reason why we come together, like to really understand the power of words and to think before you speak and really understand what you're saying and how many different meanings there are. Like crazy to me is, it might be, like I said, something different to Precious, something different to William, something different. I don't take offense to it, but somebody else will. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. The gravity of the words.
And to add crazy to now and how we say, how we we judge people. So now crazy is just however you're judging them to be different than what you're doing. So if it's not in the mindset of you consider it to be crazy, right? And so that's
Right.
throwing rocks when you got a glass house because somebody else is going to find the thing that you do crazy. And so
Right.
even in now with the pandemic, right, you got some people who take the shot, you got some people who don't take the shot, and the argument is who's crazy, right? Are you crazy for taking the shot? Are you crazy for not taking the shot? Instead of respecting that everybody has a right to choose. That is why God made us human beings, not for us to judge what decisions we make, but for us to respect that you have a right to make a choice. And when God gave me breath, he gave me the right to choose my fate, and you have the right to choose yours. But these words that we speak are the things that separate and divide us more than ever. So if it ain't color, if it ain't religion, if it ain't now it's the shot. Who got the shot? We're always finding new ways to divide ourselves and conquered over the other person, and we label it with names that we think in our heads like dumb. Dumb didn't mean anything but to be quiet. But we label it and we use it. I've watched a million shows yesterday, and all of them use dumb in the term of being stupid.
Right.
Now I know that the person, all these different episodes, and you're pushing this stuff out with the idea that is false pretense, right? Because it just needs to be quiet, and nobody in the room being quiet. But the word that they're using, and so like I said, all of these things just shows us that we sit back and instead of just living in our truth, we judge somebody else's. Instead of just enjoying the right to be free, the same freedom that I had to say yes or no is the same freedom you have to say yes or no. And until we respect each other's freedoms, we are all crazy.
Right. I mean, and that's the one thing for, you know, when I looked up dumb and you and you shared, you know, it was, you know, not speaking, you know, and I realized that there were a lot of things that were happening in my life, around my life, whatever, that I had nothing to say about it. And it was just like, you know, why am I alive? Right? Why am I alive if I am not going to speak to my life? Right? That's where, you know, that's where I am. And it's just like, okay, I'm going to say it. You know, it's like, you know, it's like getting yourself up, but it's like, there is this recognition that, you know, I think the one thing that, and you know, Melissa, you usually say, because I looked it up too, but the definition of dumb is temporarily unable or unwilling to speak. And it's like, and I think for me, I didn't embrace that temporarily, right? You know? You know, and I didn't really acknowledge the unwillingness, right? You know, I was putting it on somebody else was making me dumb, right? Somebody else was keeping me from speaking. Something else was, instead of I wasn't willing,
wasn't ready.
And so it's like, it's like I'm dumb and I'm tired of being dumb, right? You know? And it doesn't have to, and I think another thing in the culture for me, how it shows up for me, is that people don't speak or they yell, right? You know? It's like there's a place in between that, right? You know, you know, and I think, and sometimes that's how I felt, that okay, I didn't say anything, now I gotta say something. That's, you know, in some cases, that's how some of my parenting was. It's like, okay, you know, it's like, all right, let's see, one more thing, and then boom, everybody's gonna get it. It's like, you know, and that is, you know, I was creating that environment because of my unwillingness to really speak to and create the environment that was needed for my kids, my life, and for things around. And it's like, so the more, like I said, the more that I embrace that I am dumb and I'm not dumb. And even when I show up as dumb, it's temporary.
Right.
It's like, and then we'll just kind of move on from that. So, yeah, just embracing that, and yeah, I think really looking at these words and really embracing them and owning them, it's power. And I
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
think we're
yeah.
denying the power that we have because we're spending the same energy to get things away. It's like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that. Then what are you?
Mm.
And then you're left with nothing, because your only real energy is spent to what you're not. So, Melissa, it seems like you had something.
Oh, I've always got something. So speaking of the definitions of dumb, they had four of them that popped up, and the first couple were all about not speaking. The third definition was actually stupid, ironically. Seriously, that's the third one. And then the last one was about not being able to process computer data. I didn't really quite get that definition.
Right.
But
It's like,
I was like, can't speak, stupid. Ooh, so I was kind of like
right.
intrigued with that. Um, and I don't know. I guess there have definitely been times in my life that I've been dumb in all of the ways. Um, I guess I feel like I've been most dumb when I've been in like unhealthy relationships in the past, like abusive relationships, or when I have worked for like a really bad boss or at a restaurant who was like definitely not up to sanitation standards, things like that. Where it's like I knew and I could feel it and it would eat away with at my heart and my soul, but I kept my mouth shut. But I knew I was like, it made me angry. It made me angry to be dumb because I know better. So
Right.
I was being dumb in that not speaking, but wasn't actually dumb as in stupid. I just chose, I don't know why, it does. When I think of dumb and the definitions of it, I can't really think of any positive areas in my life that I've been dumb. Like, can you be dumb in a good way? So I guess, but I'm bound and determined through the course of this conversation I want people to like embrace every word out there. When we did one word conversations, there were several words that we did that like we all cried and they hit some
Right.
heartstrings and some bad stuff, and there was healing and laughter and all that good stuff. But it's my goal to embrace every word, even the bad ones, because there's healing that comes from that. When you understand, when you take the time to learn and understand and process these definitions and the different ways of use, you're giving yourself a choice on how to evolve, I think, as a person, because it's going to affect how you treat other people. I still am blown away at how much I pause and stop before I say stuff because of all of the shows that we've done. But you're given a choice when you take the time to understand these words and how to go about evolving from there. I was the person that threw dumb around like nobody's business until Precious taught me what it really meant. And I was like, I never use it anymore because I'm like, I used it in all the wrong ways. I really did.
Right.
And I can't really find any situations in my life right now to use it. So I have a choice, to carelessly throw this word around as I have been in the past and offend other people and make them feel this way, when I'm certain they don't know the real definition either. Or I can choose not to use it except when it's needed to be used. And I've yet to have a chance to use it since I learned the
Right.
definition. So I don't know. I want to embrace the dumb and the power to use it when necessary, and the power of choice not to use it in a way I shouldn't. So
It's interesting. Before you say something, Precious, it seems like you had something bubbling up there, but it feels like for me, when you were sharing that, Melissa, is that dumb is not a word to be spoken to people,
right.
right? But it is something to be
Like a state
aware
of
of.
being,
Right.
Yeah.
To be aware. It's like, I am just like, I can see myself. I am aware that I am being dumb right now. I am not speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can make but it's not, I can't say to other people, you're dumb, you're this, because I don't know, or, what's really going on. And it's like, it's, I've never like experienced before an unspoken word, right? Right,
Right.
And it seems like dumb is an unspoken word. It is an awareness word, but it's not a spoken word.
Right.
Because when it's a spoken word, all it does is hurt people. All it does is divide. All it does is diminish. And it is not to diminish you. It is to make you aware, and then invite you to make the choice to use your voice. So, so that's what's coming up for me when you were speaking. That I was like, wow, okay, all right, I own it. Just get aware. Just get aware when I'm being
own
dumb,
the dumbness.
Right?
we need to get some shirts. Hashtag dumb stupid. You know what I mean? And people, that's a conversation shirt right there. People are like, why did you just say that? Do you know what these words mean? We can go change the world with some hashtag. Come on.
One word.
Precious, we gotta get you busy.
Yes, right. I think I already knew that it was to be without voice, but when you said temporary unavailable, it hit something in me, right? Because it's the same thing without a voice, right? Because if I'm feeling something and I'm not saying something, then I checked in and didn't come out.
Right.
So when I thought about being temporary unavailable and then being without a voice, it is the opposite of who God is and what love is, right?
Wow.
Because to be present is to be available, and to be present is to be a gift. So he said, ask and ye shall find. So to be dumb is to silence yourself because you don't ask for the things that you need. And so anytime we sit in that realm of dumbness, we sit out of the presence of God. Because he's fearless, right? And he is I am that I am. So there's nothing that I'm going to say that I'm afraid how you're going to take it, because I'm more concerned what he says than what you say, right? And so I am silent to the things that I came to change because I'm afraid you're going to call me crazy, dumb, and stupid. In those places, in those spaces, I remove myself from the presence of God, because to be present is to be a gift. And anytime I'm temporarily unavailable, I miss the union that God sent. So I miss you and you miss me, and he set up a meeting. And the meeting never had because you were dumb, crazy, or stupid, right? So that just meant that you refuse to remember the conversations. You refuse to remember your greatness. You refuse to remember the I ams, and you silenced the voice that was going to make a difference in the room because you didn't want them to name you when you got to name yourself. And so when I think
come on, Precious.
When I think about being temporary unavailable, it just reminds us that to be dumb is to be without God, to be out of his presence,
I like that silencing of the voice that we get to name ourselves. I love that. That hit me. We get to name ourselves. Nobody else gets to do that. So we don't need to have fear of these words, but instead embrace them, flip the script, and own that shiznit. Come on.
And
look,
about
he said, I don't want to be on screen with somebody who's trying to swear now.
But I mean, that's so true. So I was like, wow. So to become a gift is to stay present, right? It's to be that presence, to be in the essence, to be in that realm and that feeling. And so it's like, wow, ask and you shall receive. Be available. You came to be the answer. You are the solution. And so in the times that we are silent, we are feeling something that we need to say that could imply or infect change, but we choose not to because we don't think we're worthy enough. We don't think we're capable enough. We don't think all these things because we allowed everybody else to name us instead of us naming ourselves and deciding what matters to me. And so I was dumb to not share it because it could have mattered. I held my story, right? I could have been going through something and somebody else was going through, and I was in the room at the same time with the person who was experiencing the same thing I got out of, but I was dumb. I was silent when they was sharing their cries, or when I was seeing their transition, because I didn't remove the shame and get in my lane. I decided to do what? To be quiet and let them feel like it was only them. But you are not alone, right? And so for me to speak out is to make you feel accepted, included, and then guess what? Then we both become a gift. And so I guess that's the lesson.
I'll say I'll take a little positive spin on that too, because as you know, as you speak, it always fills me and feeds me too. But another positive way to look at the dumb situation is because I was saying, I'm like, I can't really think of any spots where it's been good, but now I am. Why can't being dumb be sitting in silence? You know, why can't it doesn't necessarily have to be suffering in silence, but like that be still and know that I'm God kind of vibe. Like I want to be dumb right now because maybe I need to meditate on it for a minute. You know, simply just the aspect of not speaking doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be speaking out against something bad that's going on. Maybe I need to sit and be dumb for a minute to figure out the next course of action. And so dumb, actually, you look at it that way, is not a bad state of being. You know, I mean, I need to take, I would have used that at home. Mommy needs a dumb break. Going out for 10 minutes. I need to just.
Dr. Maya Angelou was dumb for some years, remember? Because somebody molested her. She told the people, they end up killing him. And so she felt like when she shared her pain that somebody got hurt, so she became dumb. She became mute because she thought that the thing that she shared that was going to surrender her, give her that thing, people took it and they went further than what she imagined. And so she blamed herself. And so she decided to be silent. So I don't know that it's ever, I don't know that it's ever a time to be silent in the places where you got a feeling. I think that when I think about that, I think it is speaking to the times when you know you should have said something and you didn't. Because it's supposed to have a negative indentation. It's supposed to make you rise up. It is supposed to make you accountable. And I don't care. And she gave herself the excuse because she spoke and she silenced herself because she thought that his life was more important than what she lost. But she lost, but she died too. You understand? Because that part of her, she will never get back. And so she had more value on his physical life than she had on her spiritual life, right? And so for me to feel guilty for speaking up in your truth, that it, that it hurts, you know what I mean? That she never felt that she deserved the right. Now, that wasn't her intention for them to react like that. But she deserved the right to say, this is my truth. This is how I feel. This is what happened to me. So I would say that I think that to be dumb means you're in a space when they needed you to say something and you didn't. And so that's the negative indentation that they changed around. So they meant that negative part, but they had the wrong idea of what makes it negative. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I think that's where, it goes to the shifting, the stupid, right? It is in your, I don't want to say, why are you being silent? But there is this sense that, because I heard someone say, I'm trying to remember so I can give him credit, because I'm sure it was said over and over again by someone else, but it was like, when you know something, right, and you do something, different, opposite than that, or not that, it's stupid, right? But but if you don't know, that's something else. I don't know what he called it, but
ignorance.
Ignorance. That's what it is.
Ignorant. That's what.
Right. It's ignorant, right? Yeah. So it is that point that when your soul, when your is saying, this is what needs to be said. This is what needs to show up, and you don't do that. That's I don't want to say that's stupid. But it is. But really, I think the energy of that and just saying that, like, stupid is like, it takes, it's a level of dumb, right? I mean, it's like, it's just like,
it's the third definition of dumb is
right.
stupid.
It just takes it, that's why it was like, are you just stupid, right? And it's just like, because there is a sense for myself that, the saying is, when you know better, you do better. It's like, I know a lot of people,
Yeah.
and including myself, that know better,
Been
that don't do better. Right? So it's
That
like,
part.
it's not this automatic, right? You
Yeah.
still got some choices to it.
Yes.
And so really embrace and own that I'm being stupid right now.
You're being stupid.
I know that I need to be doing this. I need to be saying that. I need to, this what needs to happen. And I'm just not, and I'm just not doing it. And I can, like I said before, that I can blame it on, the devil. I can blame it on my wife.
on,
I
man.
can blame it on everything else, because they're easy. There's, I mean, there are still people that give crappy customer service. They blame it on coronavirus. It's like, come on now,
I don't have the patience for this anymore.
It's like, really? It's like, no, you just need to train the people, right?
Right.
You know what's so funny? When you said that stupid and dumb is on the same thing, I know why it's on the same thing. Because you remember when we was growing up, if somebody did something and we was there and we didn't say nothing, and what your parents said, what are you, stupid or something?
Yeah.
You just sat there and you didn't say nothing. If they jump off the roof, you gonna jump off the roof.
Right.
So because in those moments you wasn't like, oh no, we shouldn't go. You went.
Right.
And so when they said stupid, they meant dumb, but they ran with stupid, but stupid was, did you think? Did you open your mouth? Did you?
Right.
Did you? What? No, you just went with the flow. Oh, how stupid are you to close your mouth and follow them into trouble?
Right.
When you knew better. So I guess that's why stupid and dumb
hand in hand
round, because that's the point. You didn't speak up in this thing, and so you did something stupid happened because you were dumb first.
Right.
So I get that. I get why
stupid and dumb are like brother and sister.
Brother and sister. Frick and frack. Frick and frack, right?
And then we've got anti-anastrophic to go along with them too.
Oh boy, that is something. And it's like, really, for me, that I don't want to say, I guess it is that I don't want to be stupid. One, I want to get aware of where I'm being stupid, right? Mm-hmm. Get aware of how something is happening, or some people are saying something's happening, and I know something else. I have a knowing of something, and I just do the opposite of that, or do what they're saying. And it's like, I think that this week I shared on social media. I asked the question of what consequences are you willing to deal with of being yourself? And I think for me,
it's a heavy one. I would have to meditate on that one.
It's just so many. Everybody. I say, and it's a part of my message. It's a part of my journey. It's so go be you. I'm writing a book. So go be you. But that's like a loaded thing, because there are so many people, because of how they're showing up and not showing up in their life, have an expectation of how you should show up in your life. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with you, right? It's their expectation. And there's a consequence with saying, nah, I'm gonna be me, right? And I love you, I'm with you, but I'm not just doing that. And it's just it's just really, there's a term, I'm a different part of the country, so there's different language that comes out, on on the West Coast, and there's, I mean, it's a term that I heard before. It's called gaslighting.
What is it?
Gaslighting.
I feel
I
like
don't
I
know.
Lighting?
heard that.
Okay.
Gaslighting, right? And so gaslighting, my little understanding of it is that basically when somebody doesn't accept your reality,
Mm.
it's like you say, oh, the sky is blue, and you're just like, oh, it's green, and and then make you feel bad about what you see, what your reality is, and all that. They're gaslighting you.
Like a
And
fire starter, right?
yeah, you're just kind of
Starting a
like blowing
fire,
up their world, and
fueling the fire. Yeah.
and all that, and it's they're saying it's abusive language and all that
Yeah.
kind of, and it's but the reality is, for me, me thinking, overthinking, we do that all the time.
Mm.
We um uh, I'll speak for myself. There are many times when the way the world is showing up, the way that I'm showing up, and I see other people, I don't accept their reality
Mm.
because it's like, I think it's hurtful. I think it's what all the other things that I don't I think it's not best for them, and it's like, am I going to share
Mm.
what I feel or what I see or what I know, or how I see the world, or am I just going to have them have their, hey, that's your life, that's what and just kind of stay in your dysfunction or and it's like, there has to be somewhere in the middle of just, I don't know, just be, like I said, I don't want to be stupid in that, because I want people
Mm. Mm.
not to just hear from me that I care about them.
Yeah.
I want them to feel it and know. And because, people say stuff, right? Yeah, but if there's no energy, if there's no love,
Feeling.
feeling, if
Yeah.
you, there's sometimes when people say things, and it's like, we don't even need to go any further, because I know you didn't mean what you just said.
Right.
So, I mean, so just kind of, all right, you said what you said. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
keep it going. But there are some times when I mean, because I've mentioned before that I did my internship with Mr. Rogers when I was in college. And you know how
I can so see that.
I know. I was like,
uh,
you kind of got the Mr. Rogers feel to you. You can see that.
right.
Yeah.
And so, but when he would come in the morning and say, how are you?
Mhm.
Even though I knew in my 19, 20-year-old mind that that's what we say, and we just say fine or whatever and just keep it moving.
Mhm.
It was like, Mr. Rogers just asked me, how am I doing? I feel compelled to, right? It's like, tell him everything that's going on in my
Everything.
right now, you know. But it's like, because how he made us feel, how he,
Mhm.
right. And I think there are people in our lives that we know that if they say, how you doing, you know, and there's sometimes people have to say, no, really. you know,
Right. 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 Right.
it's like, all right.
Right.
And I think, but there are so many times where I've been stupid, that I have that, I want to share my heart, I want to say what's going on, but I'm dumb, and then I do something else. I'll just say fine. What I say is not the truth. They know it's not the truth, but accept my reality, right, yeah,
Right.
right, and just kind of just keep it on, because even when they like catch me, I will still like fight them, right?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
why
Right.
are you in
Right.
my business, right? Right? It's like, so it's just crazy, and I know it's. I mean, this has been a great first show, and
Yay.
So
there's
good.
a lot going on. I have to remember when I use my phone, because I haven't done this in a while, that when people call me, I like go away, right? It's like, what are you calling me on
Oh, is
Sunday
that what
afternoon?
happened?
Right? It's
They
like,
should have been watching. Shame on
I
you.
know.
We even got bloopers. We even got bloopers in the first episode. Gotta love
So,
it.
so yeah. But as I, I put on what our show for next week that is scrolling by. Is there anything from the Soul Doctor
Mm.
that and I know I'm putting you guys on the spot 'cause this is the first time, so it'll kind of make sense in the future, from the Soul Doctor, and the Legacy Lady. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the O somewhere. Lady of
There we go.
Legacy.
You know what? That's out loud.
Come on, big brother, get it right.
I know, and that has really come up within this conversation, because the one thing that I want everybody that is watching, and next week and throughout shows, we'll bring up the comments more, we'll get more engaged with the with the audience, and we appreciate you showing up for this with us, but this is an ongoing conversation, and so what is coming up right now in this, what is the present that you would like to leave for for the people that are watching and listening to us right now. We'll start with you, Precious, if you're ready.
The present that I would like to leave is, are you crazy, dumb, or stupid? Is a question that you have to ask yourself. And what times have you been all three, right? And so if we can be honest, we can see ourselves in every piece of that, right? If we can be honest, we can, adjust to the understanding of what those words mean, and not what we thought they meant, but addressing and accepting that they mean something different. And so those ways and places that you were stuck, you get to rewrite those situations. So a lot of times people sit in rooms and they say, well, somebody told me I was dumb my whole life, and I am where I am, and so I don't feel that confidence. But guess what? They were right, because to be dumb is to be without a voice. To say I need you is to be in the presence of you, right? And so I love that we dealt with that being unavailable. That temporary unavailable touched my soul, because I know how often that we are temporarily unavailable only because we feel that we don't have what it takes to speak up. We don't feel worthy enough, because I'm gonna tell you, audacity makes you speak every single time, and God blessed us with audacity, right? And when we are without that audacity, when we are afraid to be crazy because it's necessary, when we are afraid to be dumb in the other way, right? To speak, to preach, to teach, right? The words that we are learning, we miss out on passing the baton to somebody else. Right. And so instead of feeling these words as a thing that is taken from you, I think these conversations are given to you, because it's giving you an opportunity to rewrite tomorrow by what you learned today. And because of all of these Sundays and all of these one-word conversations and all of these perspectives, we got to rewrite our story, our understanding, how we show up. And so if you could just show up because you're enough, if you could just show up because what you have to say matters, because it may not be the smartest thing to the smartest person in the room, but if God sent you there to say it, then there is one person, because he has no respect of persons, who needed to hear what you had to say. And so even if you're not smarter than the smartest, maybe you're smarter than somebody who was beneath you, who needed you to pull them up. And so to be dumb is to miss somebody while you're looking at somebody else. And so we pull up and somebody pulls us up. And so to speak, to know that you're never too dumb if God gave you something to say, because he needed you to speak in that moment, because you mattered. And the reason why I know you matter is because you're taking up space. And so anything the space matters. And so your voice matters, how you feel matters, the way you want to come outside your box, it matters. And so do not let labels stop you from being you.
Oh, wonderful. That's
you have a legacy. Come on, baby.
How do you follow this stuff? Gosh. All right.
You follow very well.
From the peanut gallery.
Lady of Legacy.
My little takeaway on today's show of Crazy, Dumb, and Stupid. I just, I guess what sat with me the most is, again, the gravity of our words and the power to choose once we learn. I think anybody that's joining in today probably learned some valuable lessons on these words, as did I, as we unpacked them, not just today, but as I was kind of preparing for today's show and exploring the definitions and like purposely listening for how other people are using. I even posted on Facebook, what's your definition of crazy? I'm curious what other people were going to say, because we've learned our lessons. This is my thing. Your lessons become your legacies. This is what when we learn something, you're leaving that behind for other people if you choose to share it. So as you learn about crazy, dumb, and stupid, you have the power to make a choice to use them appropriately, embrace them in ways you probably didn't think you could, and then teach other people. Don't be dumb when other people are calling other people dumb,
Right.
inappropriately. You have a choice to teach other people, like Precious was saying, pull another soul onto the right side here. So I thought this is a really, really great way to open up, despite my initial shock, like, whoa, we're going there. All right. But it was perfect. And I think this shows our audience a little bit more of like who we are and kind of what we're geared up to do here. We are a positive bunch, even with the negative.
A fun positive bunch. Don't forget the fun.
A fun, right.
You don't gotta be with God and lose your fun, honey. You got more fun. Nobody's funner than us, y'all. I don't care what they say.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I think for me, what I got was in the dumb. The dumb is an awareness word, for me. And I really that really hit me. And it's like,
that one sat with me a lot too.
Instead of just kind of judging myself for not speaking, be aware when I'm not speaking, and then make a choice. Then I have a power. Then I can choose to have the power, to choose, to go from there. And it's not, dumb is an unspoken word. I don't even say it out loud about myself. I hear it, but I don't say it out loud about myself. And that's what I got from today's show. So next week, I'm excited about all the shows. I mean, we have a lot of things, and we're going to be doing a lot of things to promote throughout the week. Don't look for.
Stop looking for beautiful people. Look for beautiful souls.
Right. And so
now that's a total flip opposite topic from today. Are you crazy, dumb, or stupid? Stop looking.
When I saw that topic, I was like, oh my God.
That's gonna be Precious is gonna
right. This is
the
right.
show next week. She's got this one on lock.
Right.
I love that.
We're gonna spotlight all the wonderful souls that are a part of this show. So it's ongoing. So I am definitely looking forward to it.
Listen, I already got my hashtag for that show.
All right.
Tutor a soul. Are you willing to tutor a soul?
Amen.
Oh boy, that's wonderful. So join us again next week at the same time on ongoing conversations with William, Precious, and before it was in a different order. It was like
I know.
And so,
you guys noticed that we switched our areas on the screen, trying to mess you up.
It's like so
we got all crazy up in here.
It's like, so the creature of habits, and we can change those habits, and now we can go from there. But this is ongoing conversations. When the conversation is ongoing, there is possibility for more, and that's what we want. So blessings, my friend, as we continue. We'll see you next week.
Bye bye.